Hey guys, it's Captain Forest here, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over both of these combatants to see who would win more often not in a cross-verse situation, Supergirl versus She-Hulk. Now, before I start this video, please leave a like, comment down below and of course subscribe for further content. Also, shoutouts to the Coffee Shop gang, we make awesome content. Their links will be in the description. Also, shouts to the HQ squad, shouts to my team, much appreciate to them, they help me in my videos and assist me with my research and all that great stuff. I'm gonna go ahead, get right into meat and potatoes of things and start off with Supergirl to see what she brings to the table. Now, Supergirl has also shown in post-crisis to take and physically hurt and ragdoll or suppress Superman. Supergirl was able to physically hurt Superboy Prime and also clash with Power Girl and also hurt Ultraman. Supergirl has demonstrated to damage and hurt and send a suppressed Superman flying. There are even statements that suggest Supergirl could possibly be relative if not above Superman himself, so that is pretty impressive. Now this is some pretty good scaling that you could even potentially get Supergirl to, especially with what Clark has shown over the years. Now as for the New 52, she's shown some pretty cool feats during that run too. She was able to punch a suppressed Wonder Woman into next week and caused her to bleed. We even see Supergirl beat the absolute crackers out of a suppressed Superman and also smack around Cyborg Superman, which is very impressive. And we even see her literally break the Flash's nose, which is absolutely insane. That's a really good feat for her as well. And of course, as mentioned in previous videos, Superman and Wonder Woman and the Flash himself has been able to break through Green Lantern constructs, which are fourth dimensional in nature. Now in Rebirth, Supergirl has shown to no-cell attacks and smash around Cyborg Superman. Cyborg Superman in Rebirth is noted to be every bit as fast and strong as Rebirth Superman himself, so this is some really good scaling. Like Rebirth Supergirl is really good. Now I also read the Supergirl Annual 1, and this is an interesting discovery that I managed to find for Supergirl, as Supergirl herself undergoes surgery to stabilize her cells, which are supercharged permanently, and her powers are more amplified than normal, as she is stronger than ever. She now has better control over her new permanent power amplification, so she demonstrates to have higher unquantifiable scaling in terms of AP, but that is extremely impressive for her, so it's pretty solid and pretty safe to say that she would definitely be able to take on the heavy hitters herself, and these statements also help and solidify that as well. Now, moving on to speed, easily, Rebirth Supergirl should have immeasurable to irrelevant speed pretty easily. Definitely scales to characters like Superman himself. She's shown to actually blitz him, and she can even keep up with Cyborg Superman, and I've even mentioned about the statement which solidifies this, and Superman himself has shown his own speed feats. Superman kept pace with Jay Garrick and Wally West while they were chasing the Reverse Flash to the past. Wally West himself has legit ran to the 853rd century. We've also seen Superman outpace reality blitzing missiles that was sterilizing the continuum, and Superman can move inside the source where there is no direction. So that's pretty impressive, and it's pretty safe to say that Supergirl would range around those scales of speed. So that's going to conclude speed. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Supergirl's abilities, resistances, and other miscellaneous feats. As a Kryptonian, when exposed to yellow sunlight, Supergirl's powers activate and entail many unique powers and attributes she possesses. One of them is her heat vision. Supergirl has demonstrated some versatile showings with her heat vision, such as using X-ray vision to see a weak point inside her foe's head, and then demonstrates great concentration and pinpoint accuracy when she fires a heat vision to destroy the weak point. She can perform a widespread blast to tag multiple enemies, and she can fire off her heat vision on a microscopic level. She can even focus her heat vision to mount specific objects from a distance and disarm opponents. Supergirl has demonstrated to fire heat vision from her eyes and mouth, and she can also split her heat vision. Supergirl also gets supercharged and amped when she is exposed to sunlight, and especially when she takes a sun dip. which further increases her powers and also removes fatigue. Supergirl can tap into the power she absorbs from the sun. She can burn her opponents who grab her by increasing her own physical temperature and heat like the sun, and she can also flex this energy back at her opponents. Supergirl gains X-ray vision and microscopic vision, as she can see DNA, and her other powers come with sharp enhanced senses, as she can hear a person's heartbeat and determine their intentions by the sound it makes. So don't bother trying to lie to Supergirl. Her enhanced senses allow her to know what her opponent is trying to do, such as bluffing or attempting to use tactics against her, and the time when somebody tried to lie to Supergirl via the change in the rhythm of their heartbeat, she was able to literally just know that they were fibbing, and she told them to stop lying. So don't try it. And also, Supergirl can smell your endorphins as well, which is, I don't know whether that's perverted or unique. Supergirl is able to hear the people of Earth's fear zapping through people's synapses while she is all the way up in Argo City, and she also has the ability to fly, of course. She also has self-sustenance. As long as her powers are active, she does not require the need to eat or sleep. Supergirl doesn't need to breathe underwater either. Supergirl can survive in the vacuum of space and is resistant to its harsh temperatures. In dark places, Supergirl can even illuminate her own body. Supergirl can perform ice breath and blow a gust of wind to push back her opponents. Supergirl is able to emit a frequency that deafens the adaptive cells that were adapting to her and imprisoning her, and she literally bursts right out of it, which is absolutely unique and insane. Supergirl has energy absorption. She absorbs an energy blast on a physical and spiritual level. She can tell which type of energy she's absorbing. A Tamaranian energy can interact and affect the soul. Supergirl also knows how to defeat these types of creatures by overloading them with energy, as she can absorb energy via skin contact also. Supergirl has invulnerability thanks to her Kryptonian powers. She also has the special costume, which can absorb, reserve and store energy, and also a kryptonite suit to protect her and give her some resistance to the effects of kryptonite. Supergirl can determine how much energy she has left, and Supergirl's suit is indestructible and is the perfect costume for going into outer space, and it also offers protection in harsh environments too. Now Supergirl may be more brutal than her cousin Superman, but she clearly demonstrates that she has the intellect and tactical knowledge and skills in combat situations. In her fight against Cyborg Superman, Supergirl creates a tornado around some falling glass to redirect it at Cyborg Superman to cause some damage. Supergirl deduces a way to defeat Empress Emerald, who was blasting Supergirl with magic while in combat, and Supergirl comes out on top by getting around the weakness and then proceeds to rip the eye apart. Very impressive. Supergirl knows Turquoise and Rao and skillfully beats up a group of goons. She even shows dirty tactics in combat, such as poking her opponent's eyeballs. Supergirl demonstrates more tactics in combat. She punches the ground, causing the ground to erupt from underground, blasting hot lava which melts her opponent, who is made of crystal, and then Supergirl uses super breath to freeze the whole area. Supergirl also has shown to perform giant area of effect attacks by pushing back her opponents, and has shown to use thunderclaps too. Supergirl has shown weapon improvisation, such as using an opponent's weapon on them or using their own guns. If an enemy proves to be too troublesome, just like Clark, Supergirl will resort to BFR tactics, such as blitzing her opponent and flying them off into space or throwing them into the sun. Okay, so that's going to round up Supergirl. I'm going to go ahead, move on to She-Hulk herself and see what she brings to the table. So for starters, She-Hulk has demonstrated to physically dominate and hurt Captain Marvel while she was in her binary form. We've also seen She-Hulk physically hurt a suppressed Green Skull Hulk and make him bleed, and we've even seen She-Hulk send a suppressed Immortal Hulk flying. Now, if you folks haven't seen my Captain Marvel video on Korin's channel, I go into incredible detail about the scaling for Carol. I will leave a link in the description, but for the sake of this video, I will briefly go over some feats. So these feats that She-Hulk performs are very impressive, because Carol, she has fought against King Thor and was able to physically hurt King Thor and make him exert more in their fight. She was also able to absorb his lightning, which powered her up into binary, and she used that energy to take him out, which is very impressive. Another showing that she also performed, which is also cool, is that she was able to BFR Thor's hammer and prevent it from coming back to him, which is also an impressive feat as well. Carol and Wonder Man have a little history going on, and in fact, they fought each other a good couple times. It's been demonstrated that Carol is able to take attacks and physically hurt and send a mind-controlled and bloodlusted Wonder Man flying into next week. Wonder Man has been stated by Captain America to be Sentry level. This would more so be referring to the Sentry that fought Green Skull Hulk. Carol was able to physically hurt a pissed off Sentry with just one punch. Now, however, for context, and we need to keep in mind here folks, that both Wonder Man and Carol do not fully scale to Sentry, but it's still impressive, and I wanted to mention this in this video. Carol has also fought Wonder Man again later on in the comics for the second time. She was able to take and endure an ionic energy attack from Wonder Man. Now, Carol was actually trying to help Wonder Man, who was enraged. She was trying to reason with him, but nonetheless, this is still impressive because they perform one more final clash, and unfortunately, Carol does come a little bit short, but this is still impressive for Carol nonetheless, that she has traded some fists with these characters. So all these feats that I've mentioned, you're probably wondering why this is all impressive. Well, you're about to find out right now. Thor has demonstrated some phenomenal feats throughout the comics, even before becoming king. For starters, we've seen Eric Masterson Thor clash with another Thor from the future. Their clash produced energy that simultaneously affected all planes of reality and stretched across the entire cosmos. The Asgardian god of thunder shivered the 9 realms during his battle with the Midgard serpent. Asgard on its own is beyond space, time, and all known dimensions and mortal man's wildest dreams of reality. In fact, a quantum cosmologist doesn't understand the true nature of what Asgard is. Thor is strong enough to dent the Silver Surfer's forehead. We've seen a serious Silver Surfer contend with Loki. This same Loki is capable of simultaneously affecting every conceivable astral and metaphysical plane. Loki also stated that the Silver Surfer is no match for Thor. Wonder Man is capable of fighting Hercules. Hercules himself has noted that Simon is also a rival to Thor in terms of strength. We've seen Wonder Man also go at it with Hyperion. Keep in mind, Hyperion himself survived the destruction of 2 entire universes. One day, his universe and another started colliding. While he was trying to prevent the destruction of his reality, he was left in a void his destroyed universe once occupied, floating in nothingness. There are numbers greater than infinity, and just like in mathematics, a universe is trans-infinite, existing infinities higher than the other infinities. A universe comprised a whole multiverse and the metaversal spaces. A serious unstable Sentry stalemated a suppressed Green Skull Hulk, although Green Skull Hulk wasn't as suppressed as he was when he went up against the likes of the X-Men, Juggernaut, She-Hulk, and Iron Man. So yeah, in terms of attack potency and in turn durability, Carol is certainly not lacking. So why don't we move on down to speed? As for speed, She-Hulk ranges from MFTL plus infinite speed to immeasurable speed. She-Hulk is fast enough to tag and ragdoll Carol. Carol has kept pace and reacted to the likes of Thor. Thor himself has blitzed Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer has demonstrated some low-end impressive finite speed scaling. The Silver Surfer casually flew through 500,000 light years in a short time frame. He easily crossed galactic distances in a panel. Silver Surfer has crossed the universe in a short period of time on more than one occasion. These are finite speed feats if we lowball the size of the universe, but infinite if we go to the consistent infinitely large universe route. Another infinite speed feat also comes from Thor himself, where Thor was able to hear a prayer from a universe away. After hearing the prayer, Thor demonstrates that he is fast enough to cross the universe within a couple minutes. The universes in Marvel Comics, as mentioned, are infinitely large, which would mean Thor traveled an infinite distance in a finite amount of time. Thor has also demonstrated that he is able to blitz Silver Surfer, who can time travel with his raw speed alone. Okay, so that's going to round up She-Hulk's stats. I'm going to go ahead move on to her other impressive showings and abilities. Just like her cousin Bruce Banner / the Hulk, she gains some of his gamma-imbued powers after undergoing a blood transfusion. Just like the Hulk, the more angrier She-Hulk becomes, the more powerful she becomes. Her physiology, though not quite on the same level as her cousin, the Hulk, it's still impressive regardless. Her metabolism is unique and her body weight prevents her from getting drunk. She can survive longer in space than a normal human, as her lung capacity is larger than any normal humans, and She-Hulk does not tire. She-Hulk is able to absorb gamma radiation, and it also amplifies her. She-Hulk is acrobatic and can leap to high places. Her skin can also ricochet bullets, and she's also able to heal as well from injuries. She-Hulk is pretty skilled, believe it or not. After 3 months of training with Gamora, She-Hulk beats the champion. The champion has mastered the combat forms and martial arts of thousands of races and has practiced and perfected his skill. We even see She-Hulk invent her own fighting style called Shulk Fu, as she embarrasses Abomination with her skill and uses a lot of weapon improvisation. She also knows pressure point techniques such as the Centurion Nerve Strike to paralyze her opponents. Captain America is even impressed by She-Hulk's level of skill, and She-Hulk is no stranger when it comes to resorting to underhanded tactics. She-Hulk is stated to be a crack shot with a ray gun, showing great proficiency and accuracy, as She-Hulk's blasts are able to destroy each individual missile in a row. And lastly, She-Hulk can perform the signature thunderclap. As for resistances, Jennifer is able to transform into She-Hulk despite being sedated. Despite the radiation slowly wearing She-Hulk down, her strong willpower allows her to push through a high blast of microwaves which was wearing her down to get to her opponent. Radius, one of She-Hulk's enemies back in the classic days, has the ability to manipulate and vibrate the molecules in any object or living being. In fact, attempted to manipulate She-Hulk's molecular structure. This, however, did not work, as She-Hulk has control over her own molecular structure. She-Hulk has taken a repulsor blast from Iron Man's suit. This very same repulsor blast can destroy things on a subatomic level. She-Hulk can tank mind attacks and cellular destruction, as a mental blast from Doc was not enough to shatter Torque's consciousness and shear every single cell in his body. And on another occasion, She-Hulk fought off Moondragon's mind attack. She-Hulk is also demonstrated to fight out of Gargoyle's petrification, as her metabolism was able to kick in and pretty much thaw her out of this petrification. She can also tell if she's under a hallucination, as she's able to see through Mysterio's illusions and ignore them. She-Hulk has taken Hellfire, as mentioned before in previous videos. Hellfire burns the soul to ash, and she's also has really good survivability, as she's able to survive in harsh cold environments. She-Hulk has instinctive reaction, as she instinctively throws a crane into the air, and she's also demonstrated precognition in battle, predicting when Tony Stark would try to attack her. Now, this is something that She-Hulk actually has in her disposal. She-Hulk has plot manipulation and fourth wall awareness. She-Hulk demonstrates some of these hacks, such as ripping off the comic and removes Madcap from the plot and throws him in the trash. She can interact with the plot and comic also, and go to different comic panels too. She's also demonstrated to interact with notations and speech bubbles too. She-Hulk can even leave the plot of her own story, and she can rejoin it whenever she wants. And lastly, She-Hulk also at one point had Type A immortality. The Gamma mutates have a special link to the Green Door, which revives them when they die. But unfortunately, She-Hulk loses this connection to the Green Door after the leader turns it off. Okay, so that's going to round up both these combatants. I'm going to go ahead, give my thoughts on who I think wins more often than not. Now, AP, it depends on your interpretation, but I do think that they're pretty relative. You could honestly argue She-Hulk having the slight edge in AP. I think they're both in the relative ballpark of Outerversal, maybe even high outer, possibly higher. But I do think that the AP gap isn't too huge, so I think they're pretty relative in my opinion. but you could definitely argue that She-Hulk may have more layers into the AP department. It just depends on how you scale Marvel and DC, but I don't think AP is necessarily an issue. I'll get more into that when I go into the analysis. Now speed, I do award speed to Supergirl. She's just definitively faster. Like, DC has really good speed scaling, easily like high immeasurable layers and irrelevant speed scaling. Even if it was to like try and work away and find an alternative, maybe even do like an immeasurable speed cap, Supergirl would have way too many layers into the tier, so she would still be faster regardless of how you slice the cake. So I do give the speed category to Supergirl. Now in terms of win cons, She-Hulk, straight up, just like her cousin Bruce, she uses pretty much her brute strength, so she does have the skill as well. She will use skill depending on the scenario of the fight. She will rely on AP, thunderclaps, you know, trying to ground and pound, one shot and beat the crap out of her opponents. Typical sensational She-Hulk style. Now of course She-Hulk does have, of course, the Hulk physiology, so the more angrier she becomes, the more her attack potency increases. So if the fight does progress a bit too long, she would definitely probably like outscale Supergirl in AP. She would probably have the AP advantage if that was to occur. Supergirl has win cons of her own. She has her ice breath, she has her heat vision, and other assets which I'll mention in this video. I don't think heat vision is going to be an issue. She-Hulk has taken subatomic attacks from Iron Man himself, from his repulsor blasts. Those repulsor blasts literally destroy things down to a subatomic level, so I don't think the subatomic destruction from the heat vision is going to be an issue. Ice breath is a good argument. You could argue that that could immobilize She-Hulk briefly, but I think because of the AP she'd be able to break out, and She-Hulk herself does have resistance to cold environments. Like literally she was able to deal with I think it was the frost giants. There's like a type of cold environment which Thor couldn't deal with, and the gamma radiation inside her body was keeping her warm, and she had to use that gamma energy to in fact give it to Thor and keep him warm. So I don't think the cold, the ice breath, or the super breath, the cold manipulation, I don't think that's going to be an issue. That's not going to stop her whatsoever in terms of like trying to freeze her insides, because her whole body would be pretty much insulated by her gamma radiation. Because of the speed edge, I think She-Hulk may have a bit of a hard time trying to tag Supergirl. Supergirl with the speed edge has a lot to work with. In fact, if Supergirl does begin to struggle trying to deal with She-Hulk, if She-Hulk starts to, of course, amplify herself, get stronger by the Hulk physiology, you know, getting angry, increase the attack potency, Supergirl has a really solid win con, and she will do this in character. She does it a lot, just like her cousin, cousin Kal, Superman himself. She will resort to BFR tactics. So if She-Hulk starts to become an issue, she could just grab She-Hulk by the waist and blitz her, fly her up into space, and throw her into orbit, or just throw her into a sun and just leave her there. And of course, She-Hulk can't breathe in space. She does have a massive lung capacity, but that's not going to last very long, especially if she's just left in orbit in space. She won't make it, and she won't survive. So if it came down to that scenario of BFR, I would give victory to Supergirl in that regard. I think she's way too fast. The speed feats, the speed scaling is just better compared to She-Hulk's, and I definitely think because of the speed edge, that's going to be an issue. Now, if this was equal stats, I definitely think that She-Hulk would probably win. She is a lot more skilled. She does have more skill. She will use skill more in character than Supergirl. And I think especially if she gets the ground and pound in and starts beating on Supergirl, she could incapacitate Supergirl. I do think that She-Hulk would probably take victory in an equal stats situation. The BFR aspect wouldn't work in this situation, considering the fact that speed and AP is not an issue. She-Hulk would have plenty of time to react, come up with a strategy, and deal with Supergirl in mid-combat, just like what Hulk did. In fact, if Supergirl was to try and BFR She-Hulk and try fly her off into space, She-Hulk would just thunderclap Supergirl's ears and cause them to ring. That would be a huge issue. and that'd leave her wide open, and easily She-Hulk would just dispatch of Supergirl. So I think in an equal stats situation, I think She-Hulk would do pretty well. I think the stats won't be an issue, and she has a lot more to play with in that regard, and her healing factor also helps too. So I would have to give victory to She-Hulk if it was equal stats, but in an unequal stats situation, I personally think Supergirl wins via the speed advantage and a solid win con to dispatch of She-Hulk permanently. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoy my videos, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Who do you think wins in this matchup? But yeah, it's been real. See you guys in the next one. Peace.